Good morning, everyone. This is what you see outside. It is 7:30 in the morning. Today is February the 3rd, and it's very cloudy out there. I'm in Arizona, so for people that think we have only hot days, well, today it's a beautiful day. And let me see if I can get the horizon coming way back there. Look at how beautiful that looks. And it's cloudy. It's supposed to rain today. And I just got up. Well, not really just got up. I got up about an hour and a half ago, maybe more. Yeah, about an hour and a half ago. And I've been reading and I've been trying to understand how to use the chart for the Haslam system. And I think I'm understanding it a lot more. I just have to put it into practice. But I just wanted to let you all know that I have been literally spending my entire days on this. And although I've been reading and reading and rereading and reviewing and going over and over, well, I have to write down to understand most of the stuff that I read when it comes to learning, only because I am dyslexic, so it's not always all the time, but when it's something so complex that has not enough information and I'm like researching, then at some point I have to literally, that's my curtain back here, get to really understand it, so that when I put it into practice, and I know I'm gonna make mistakes and I know you guys will see it, since I already got stuck the first time, but now I understand a few other things that come into play. But I just wanted to say hello. I wanted to thank you all for following me on this journey, and I hope that I get to make it less intimidating for you all, because it is an intimidating system that can get anyone stuck. Luckily for us, with the internet and Facebook groups, we are able to help each other out, and YouTube videos, right? All right, so I'll tune back on. I'm gonna get back into my reading and taking notes, and then I will probably be using the chart today. Okay, bye guys. Hello guys. I don't know how dark I may look here, but I don't want to turn on the lights that I have in my room because it tends to get super bright. I use LED light bulbs to light up my room, my sewing room, in the evenings. Couldn't miss this. So today is my third day, as I said before, working on the Haslam system. And more than working, I'm actually going through information. As you notice, I got stuck with the charts, and as I'm going through information, which by the way, I found it at the drafting. The webpage is draftinghaslam.wordpress.com by Erin Sloan, who is also in the Haslam Sewing Support Group by Miss Debut Vintage. I know it's a lot of information, but trust me, as you start working on this, it'll make more sense. As I've been reading this, Erin Sloan's information as far as on how to draft the base using the charts, I have to say that it makes a little more sense to me now. So now I have to put it into practice. However, before I do that, before I even run into the table and attempt to use it, I'm going to be writing down pinpoints, you know, the most important parts that I think we would need to know, especially by learning certain parts of the charts. One of the things that you would need to know, it would be the points, the how this works. This chart, and I'm hoping I have enough light over here, but this chart right here, this would be the back. This part right here, it says it's your bust measurements. Then right here, so this is your main block. This right here would be your French curve, but it has a lot of detail, so please be sure to pay a lot of attention to that when you're using yours. I'm gonna try my best to explain to my best knowledge on, you know, what's going on, and of course I might not be able to cover all of it, but as I do each project or each drafting of the garments that I'll be performing with this system, because I'm making this like my main system, I'll be recording everything, so, and putting it on the video, so this way anyone that would come across the videos can maybe understand it a little better. I know there's a lot of you out there that are like me. We, you know, as you learn better by seeing someone doing it and having that explanation to make sense. And I think that's what happens with this system, is that I don't think it's difficult. It's just there's not enough information as to where to start and how to make sense of the dots coming onto this. But once I start on this, it's not going to be a hard thing to do. The one thing that I've been reading as far as the instructions on these charts is that if you're off the measurements to where you would compare your body to the chart, and you're not like on it as far as the neckline or the shoulders, then you would have to base your pattern or your markings to your bust measurements, and then at that point you would, you know, go ahead and readjust your pattern until you actually come to the closest possible. With that said, that means that if you need full bust adjustment, then that's something that you would need to do. If you can see, I don't have a lot of bust. I mean, this is all padded bra. The reason why it looks like, because I'm a little chunky, but definitely the measures from before, from the 40s, have nothing to do with my measurements or my body type per se, because back then women were slimmer and I think a little taller, and if not taller but slimmer. Their body frames, I believe, were less chunky. If they were chunky, I think maybe they had more shape. But that's just what I think. I mean, maybe not, you know, who knows? I may be wrong, so don't take my word for it. But basically, so far, that's what I've been covering. I am actually going to make bullets on this, because I'm now thinking on writing a blog as well, with all of this information, to be able to have it on file for my benefit as well. So hopefully this is going to be successful. I am hoping not to disappoint you, and I'm hoping you guys continue to follow me, and, you know, just please support me with thumbs up, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. This will be my journey for a while, and I believe once I'm ready with you know, where I can feel like super comfortable with it, since this is gonna be like my permanent thing, only because I'm tired of using store-bought patterns. I have a book that's has a lot of potential as far as pattern drafting, so after I'm comfortable with this, I'm planning on using that book to freelance my own patterns without having to use any other patterns, since I'm gonna start designing from that time as well as now, as well as today. So and you know, I'm just gonna have to go one step at a time. I'm sorry again that I talk a lot, but that's mainly the reason why I decided to do these videos, is because I know that you all need lots of information. So I know it's not gonna be so much overwhelming. So far I've been getting messages saying that, you know, where you guys say that or for the ones that do leave a message, that it's very informative. So I'm very happy with that part. So with that said, I'm gonna stop the video and I'm gonna get back into this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and videotape my second attempt to using the charts. Okay guys, see you later. Okay, so now I'm gonna hope on filming. Okay, so as I said earlier, I am getting information from draftinghaslam.wordpress.com by Erin Sloan, and she gives us information as far as the Haslam system overall, but she mainly gives us good information as far as how to follow instructions on how to use the charts. I just wanted to mention to you that as I'm reading this, it's like really cool. But on her notes it says, if any of your measurements fall outside the table of proportional measurements, you may need to alter your foundation to make it work for you. And then it says, try drafting your foundation pattern using your high bust measurement for your front foundation. Sometimes the fit is better through the upper bust and shoulder using the high bust as the bust measure and doing full bust adjustment. So when it comes to full bust adjustment, there is that part where a pattern drafting book should be at your fingertips, so that you can refer you can go back and refer to how to do the adjustment on a full bust. However, if you look on YouTube for videos on how to do adjustment for full busts or full bust adjustments, you should find several, if not a lot of videos that would actually show you how to do that. I would definitely encourage you to do that if that's something you don't know how to do. I haven't come to that point yet, and because I'm not an expert as far as doing bust adjustments, I don't want to say that I'm gonna like do that for you right now, but I will be studying that part of the pattern drafting, so I can actually give you the guidance to do that. Anyway, I need to really learn it, so that's part of my plan as well for future video. And then it says, make any of your usual pattern alterations to the foundation pattern before you test the fit in fabric. Basically, once you're done, once you complete your front base and your back base, you should be fitting that on you on paper, and that would probably come on half your body for the front and half the body for the back. If you want to test that on muslin or fabric that you're not using, that you have it, was meant for you to do your testing on, you know, the fabric, then I would encourage you to do that. This way, if you have a muslin, you can actually keep your muslin as, you know, once you come to a point where you want the base to be at a, you know, of your liking on as far as the fit, and you can keep that, and then this way every time you do a pattern, then you would already have it on muslin rather than on paper. I'm gonna do my base on cardboard, project cardboard, as I mentioned earlier on this video or the previous video. I don't know in how many portions I'm gonna be breaking this down yet, but I will be doing that on cardboard, just the same material that I use for the chart or ruler, whichever you want to call it. To me, it's just a ruler, but it's a chart. It's called the chart for the Haslam system. So there goes another tip. If you don't have the means to, you know, extra money to do this, then I suggest using old paper or paper, recycled, whatever paper you have at home. Tape it together and make a long piece. Newspaper could be it, if not gift wrapping paper as well, if not tissue paper. Anything that falls into that can help you in making your pattern and in practice would be perfect. So don't go spending money you don't have, just utilize what you have at home. So I'm now gonna continue with this. So this pattern, this base, or your foundation should not fit like skin. It's what she's saying here. It should not be a second skin, meaning you should be able to move and breathe on it rather than tight. And nope, it should be able to be, you know, easy breezy. And then it says that the amount of ease in your garment is also personal choice. You may prefer more or you may prefer less. Meaning if you want it looser or tighter, it's really up to you in that regards. And then it says because they are not final dress, blouse, or skirt draft, the foundation body's waist and skirt waist will likely not match. Sew each piece separately to fit. Fitting darts, tucks, etc. are added in illustrated draftings. Bodices tend to have some blousing near the waist, or the fullness is taken up in tucks or darts at the waist and released above. Then it says a well-fitted late 30s and early 30s, late 30s, early 40s garment should be balanced on your figure and should be comfortable both when standing and when sitting down. So again, it should be fitted to your skin, to your body, but not tight. It should be, you should have room for movement, and it shouldn't accentuate your figure too much unless the fashion that you're planning on making would instruct otherwise. Okay, and that, or if you want yours to be more fitted or tighter, again, that's your liking, that's your decision. Definitely we have to play with the drafting. And just so you know, when you're drafting patterns, even when you use store-bought patterns, for some people that don't want to read the instructions because they tend to be confusing, the one thing you should always know is, like, when you do store-bought patterns, there's already room for error, meaning there's your seam allowances are already in place. You don't have to add it to your pattern when you're cutting out your fabric with the pattern. However, you're supposed to be cutting the pieces and fitting them on you to make sure for adjustment or alterations on it, the reason why you cut them and then you put them on you is because of that. You're supposed to do that before you cut your fabric. I don't know if there are people like me out there, but I like doing things too fast. So I don't really waste time on, not waste time, but I don't invest time is the perfect word. I don't invest the proper time when it comes to me, my own stuff, to be fitting patterns. I measure every bit that I can think about from, from neck going down every 3 inches. I tend to measure myself, and that's how I measure my sewing patterns from this, that I buy at the store, and I go from there as far as altering, and I get pretty close to my fit. Not only it gets pretty close, but a lot of it also has to do with the fabric that you're using. So it's just different things that come into play that you need to understand when you're cutting your pattern. Like your pattern might be perfect, but your fabric, you didn't think about the fabric. You didn't think about how the fabric is gonna weight. You didn't think about how it drapes, or whether it's heavy, whether it's light, whether it stretches, where it doesn't stretch. Is the garment that you're choosing gonna be the same as when you're choosing your fabric? So all of that stuff comes into play. If you're not, and you only get to understand it as you play with it. You can make the one dress that you love and do it in different fabrics, and it's not gonna fit the same on each fabric. It might be best on certain fabrics, and on certain fabrics it might be a terrible fit. So keep that into consideration as well. Know your limits as well, as far as how much sewing you know and how much of the techniques, but don't limit yourself. Know your limits, but don't limit yourself. Play, be open to error and mistakes. Be open to everything, including time frames. If you're planning on doing something that, let's say you want to make a dress and you're using the Haslam system and you're making a dress that you've never done before, make sure you take the time to draft. Make sure to take the time to fit. Make sure to take the time to know your fabrics, or at least have an idea of it. That doesn't happen unless you really make those mistakes, and unless you really make something out of that one fabric. It's amazing how fashion changes when it comes to the materials we use. You can probably make a dress in silk, like 100% silk, and make a dress with like man-made, or let's say with fake silk, which would be this, those, what do you call that? Polyester satin, which is called man-made fabrics, only because they're not natural fabrics, but I'll go into details with that in the future. So you end up making a dress with, let's say, let me go even less fancy. Let's say you use cotton fabric, and now here you're using a fabric that feels the same as cotton, but it's polyester. And when you make the dress, when you make those dresses, you made the one with cotton thing, and it fit really well, but when you made the one with polyester, it didn't fit the way you thought it was gonna fit. It didn't do the same effect, or vice versa. So keep that in mind. Be open to all the things that will come with your sewing and with your drafting as far as your pattern. Sometimes we get the pattern perfect, but the fabrics might not be the fit for it, or you think you have as well. The other thing is, you might think you have a piece, you might think you have the dress of your dreams, but when you make the dress and you put it on, the color, everything is great, but the fit is just not for you. Then at that point, it's a game changer. You have to be very flexible and understand it. And whenever you make something, do it to please you, do it to wow you, and be content and be happy every step that you take, even when you make mistakes, because those mistakes are the ones that make us get better, and the practice makes perfect. So one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos is because that's what happens. I love to challenge myself, and I love to know that I'm doing something that a lot of people want to do, or want to use the system, but feel like me, as I said earlier, intimidated by it. Why? Because we don't have enough information as to how to use the charts. And there are information, but I'm a visual learner. You know, the truth that is, I'm a visual learner. I like to see it done, and then from that point on, I'm good. So I know that there's a lot of you in that situation that already bought the system and have it sitting there collecting dust, but haven't really gotten the chance to use it because you don't know where to start, or you make no sense of it. And you may have an idea, but you're, like I said, intimidated by it. So I'm happy that I'm the guinea pig for this project, and I'm happy that I'm going to be happy using this system, and that is going to be part of my sewing for a long time, until I get ready to move forward with something more complex, such as drafting my own patterns by using the book that I showed on my first video. So I'm gonna move forward, and now I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing making my notes, and I will come back to you guys. Okay.